Now, coming back to you, Flora, really the same question. How has social capital sort of built? You're an entrepreneur, and you have served in very many, associations and stuff like that. So even we'll need to tap. This is the currency we need to tap into, because I can just imagine your expansive network. How did you build it, and what tips would you give us? And the entrepreneurs here, there are also people who are working for themselves, as individuals, or, they are working for organizations. What would you tell us?
I think similar to what Ken has said, I think social capital begins by, first of all, just showing up. So, when I started my business, I just went through the typical motions. I went to the supermarkets. Nobody knew me. In fact, I got too many lectures about how old are you? Why aren't you getting jobs? And why aren't you employment? So the one I would want to focus on maybe is how, now when I went into the association, so I did my business maybe for about 5 years. And then I got a call, would you want to sit on the Tea Board of Kenya as a packer? So I said, what is that? I didn't even know the Tea Board of Kenya, other than they were our regulator at some point. Well, you had to license with them, but they were very quiet. So, I asked this person, how I knew about him is when I wanted to go into tea, this particular gentleman is one of the ones who signed me up from somebody I met who was giving me the idea about tea. Because I delivered my salt. I remember I told you I started with salt. So I delivered my salt to this hotel. And then he tells me, I'll pay you in 90 days. I said, no, you're going to pay me tomorrow. Because I needed the money. I was so young. And he said, no. And we started fighting. So I went there every day thinking I'm going to wear him down. I didn't wear him down. I had a beautiful lesson in business, 101. Please learn your terms of trade before you do the business. But the interesting thing, that's when he gave me the idea of, he said his mother was disturbing him. I said, why? He said, she's packing tea. And then he told me the prices, and I was like, I needed another product. So that again was just, right place, right time. That was a Thursday. By Monday, I asked him, who do you know in tea? He says, all my friends are in tea. So I said, really? He said, yeah. And where is tea done? He said, Mombasa. I said, okay, I want to go next week. He said, which day? He told me, you better go on Monday because that's the day of auction and that's the day you can get all the traders together. So there I was. On Monday I went. So Thursday to Monday, decision made, and I went. So that same gentleman is now the one who introduced me now to Teapot. So I started getting into what you'd call public service. I think I had somebody talking about public-private. So I got into that. And then somehow I understand. Kenya Association of Manufacturers had just Betty Minor as the CEO. And they had all these Vimal and a lot of Asians around the table. And they were saying, we need first of all, a local industrialist, and we need a lady. So Mugo, who's a friend, actually I know his sister, was just discussing with the sister, and the sister says, but Flora is an industrialist. So when he brought my name to the room, they all accepted. There wasn't even ati who is that? Now, somehow I had met them in another leadership forum that I had gone to. And we had gone into breakout sessions, so they knew me. So immediately I was asked, do you want to sit on the board? I said, okay. And, so I sat on that board. So I was the only lady for the longest time, I think like 3 years. Okay, Betty was the CEO. But what I did when I was there is I tried to ensure, even till today, I'm still very much for the woman agenda. So I showed up on that board for about 6 years. Then the guy who came into the governance is very quiet. So if you become chairperson, you choose your vice chair, and typically your vice chair will become the next chair. Actually, so far. And KM is about 60-something years old now. So this is a tradition that had gone on. So the incoming chair, he came in as vice, and then he mentioned to Mercy, who was actually the CEO at the time, that I want Flora to be my vice. So Mercy told me, by the way, do you know this is what Pradeep Rana is saying? I said, me? No. I'm not the level of you guys, because if you know the Association of Manufacturers, they are huge, they are large, they have PAs of PAs and years, and so I was telling them, it's not my level. So I kept saying no. So the day he was now made chair, he said, Flora is my vice. So I met him. In fact, we came here for lunch, and he asked me, what's your problem? Why are you refusing? And I said, I can't. You guys have too much support me. I'm still an SME. I'm growing my business. And he told me, do this. You accept, and if there's any managerial support you need, I will give you. I'll either pay for it or I'll come myself. Okay. So I accepted for the 2 years. Of course, I'm really trying to argue and wiggle on my way out of it. So then now the day he's leaving, now I'm going to be told he starts again about a week before, 2 weeks before. Flora, are you ready? I said, no. We fought. So the week before, I think he called, he asked Mercy, I'm having a problem with Flora. Mercy was working at KM. She came all the way to industrial area. Now, there was no expressway, so that was already an effort. And she says, why not? We argued, and I convinced her. I told her, it's time. I don't have time. No. Leave these men alone. And I left it at that. So she picks her bag, and just as she's walking out, she says, KM is 57 years old. You're the first female they've decided to ask, and you've said no. I wonder when they'll ask the next female. Where? Talk about the penny dropping. So I started getting conflicted. I started fence-sitting. So the next day I decided to have a plan. We do all our voting meetings on 7:30. We finish by 10. So I said, I'll just not come. So I didn't go to the meeting. So I rocked in at 9:30 thinking the voting has happened, and they just clapped and said, you're the next chair, and that's that. So again, I think it's right through I had shown up. They had, and because they were very intentional. Now when I look back, they had asked me, we want you to sit on the FIMAPS, which is the financial committee. We want you to sit on the nominee. So basically, I was on a leadership training that I myself did not even recognize, or maybe I didn't want to. And that for me is what I then call social capital. So those people just became, my friends. When I led, it was a time we took the plastic ban came when I was chair. So they started saying, so we talked to government, we talked. And one day they just said, you know what, we're taking government to court. And of course, as the chair, I'm the front. So we took government to court. I started getting calls from everywhere. Let me tell you, these people stood by my side. There was never a day I felt alone. They said, we'll come. From Kimani of Kevian to all the Asians, everybody, you're not alone. Even when we went to the court now to hear the ruling, we had 2 papers. We had one, a speech in case we win, one in case we lose. But 3 or 4 of them were always there. So I think, I guess, I'll just say, I don't even want to know if it's social capital. It's just like great support. But the difference is I showed up a lot. I was consistent. I gave a lot of feedback. I collaborated a lot. And when I didn't know, I picked the phone. By the way, there's none of them who will tell you I never called them. I called and I said, guys, I need you here. And they would definitely do that. So for me, I think what I would share is that you must consistently just show up. You must speak your truth. You must be authentic. When things go wrong, which they will, just be honest. I mean, there was a time I think they felt I was too strong as I took an opinion. And they said, as chairperson, you can't take an opinion like that. And next time, and I took it well. I said, okay, gentlemen, I get it. And it was taken okay. So for me, it's, I would just say it's showing up. But it's also speaking. And that's why when all these people with these nice sashes, I said, these are leaders. Fit to lead. Why are they not speaking? Because the one thing I've learned is you shouldn't be shy to speak. And okay, fortunately for me, but I think it is all the training I got from them, I was never shy to speak. I remember one time I actually did a roundtable, a presidential roundtable, and I ended up being on the floor alone for 5.5 hours. I was being asked questions by ministers like this, and I had to, and I didn't break down. And I've known some people, sometimes they break down and say, oh, I can't. And then, no, it's just really just trying to be strong and to be there. So